Alright, so I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about rear bumpers for VW buses. And a lot of people um, maybe not don't have all the information on this stuff, so maybe you're trying to figure out what you got, what you're supposed to have on yours. And this is for the 67 and earlier buses. There's basically two different types of bumpers. And a lot of people think, well, I'm not going to put it on unless I have the original correct one. You know, um, I happen to have this bumper on my bus right here, which is not the correct bumper, but it's cool and it was original. And I was at a show and I actually found the correct one for the bus. So I'm going to show you what the difference is between these two. This is what they call a slash bumper. So the back of it goes down at an angle. Okay, and 66 and 67 had pointed bumpers, and this is a pointed rear bumper. So if you see right here, this comes to a point. Right here, it comes to a point. Instead of it being going slash this way, it goes to a point. Now, because they're only 66 and 67 only, they don't make a reproduction of these. So they make these slash bumpers, which fit just fine and look very much similar to the original ones, but they are not exactly like the original. So one of the fun things is when you're a purist, some people are way purists. They're like, I won't put it on my car unless it's right. To me that's kind of crazy. But if you want it to be correct, someday you could go to the shows and maybe you find the right one by luck or whatever, and then you've got the correct bumper for the bus. So I was at a show and a friend of mine had this there for sale, and I was like, dude, how much you want for that thing? That thing is straight as an arrow. I mean, it's really hard to find a rear bumper that's straight. And one of the reasons, I'm going to tell you why that is, and a lot of people don't know this, but if you talk to any older person, some of them are dead and gone now, but a lot of the older people who are, say, in their 70s now, and you say to them, what was it like climbing hills back, 30 years ago? And some of them don't remember, or 50 years ago or whatever. And back years ago, there was two reasons that you would be going slow up a hill. One was you'd be behind a truck, okay, up a big mountain. Or two, you were behind a Volkswagen bus. So VW buses went uphill very, very slow, 35 miles an hour, and that's why you need to do some things to your motor now to get it upgraded, and your transmission gearing to get it upgraded for today's roads, because back then they didn't really have the whole freeway system built, and so a lot of two-lane roads. Route 66 was still active. There was a lot of two-lane roads, and it was expected to see people going really slow, going up hills. Today, if you're going uphill really, really slow, your chance of getting rear-ended is pretty high, because people are not used to seeing that, and when their brain is not programmed to see that. So what? So what? So that's usually why you can't find a rear bumper that's straight and in really good condition. So sometimes finding a pointed rear bumper can be a little bit more difficult than the other. Now, some guys think, well, they're more expensive, but really they're not. There was more buses made in 66 and 67 than there was in the earlier years, and less likely that you have a 66 or 67 to get rear-ended, because in 65 they actually changed the gear ratios in the transmission on the bus. So they came up with what is called a big nut axle, and the big nut axle had a much higher gear ratio in it and would climb hills a little faster, and it would go down the freeway a little bit faster. So less of them probably got ran into, that's just my guess, than the earlier ones. So if you're wondering why your VW bus is rear-ended, and you're wondering why you can't find a straight rear bumper, that's usually why. The other reason is some people, when they took the engines out because they blew it up because they were driving it too fast, and again, transmission gearing, got to change that stuff today, guys. is they, they were going too fast and they burned their motor up, and they took their motor out. When they took their motor out, they took the bumper off and left it off. And that is another reason that they're missing. But more often it was because they had damage, because they got rear-ended, because they were going too slow. Got bumped into. A lot of things happen. So anyway, that's kind of how the bumpers work. So you also have two different types of, which I still don't have these yet. On the deluxe buses, you have two different types of your bumper guards. You have the slash, which this is a slash one, and then you have a pointed, which looks more like the one that's in the front on this bus here. See, the front of that one would look like this. It would be pointed, and then the back, so instead of being a slash like this, going one direction, monodirectional, it would be going like this and pointed in the middle. So I'm gonna have to find those, and it'll be a little bit of a challenge. And that's just one of those things, that's a fun way to be a purist, is to just get it done. And man, you get lucky, you go find your parts, and you go, wow, I found something cool. I just buy it because it's original, and you're trying to little by little make it original. But when you go, oh, I'm not going to drive it unless it's all original and it's all right, that's kind of, to me, that just takes all the fun out of it. Then you're just stressed out all the time. But when you can do this and kind of make it more of a hobby, and that you're just kind of finding those original parts for your car, it's kind of fun. So anyway, and that's why a lot of these guards too, they're hard to find ones that are straight. But I was going to go over one more thing, the reproduction versus original. So your real original bumpers, they say the reproductions are the same gauge as the original. Not agreeing with that at all. The original bumper here, even the Wolfsburg West, is much heavier. The steel is much better. It feels like, to me, like it's thicker than the reproductions. So the original ones are obviously a lot stronger and a lot sturdier, and if you're putting a trailer hitch on one of them or something like that, you'll find that this bumper is just a lot more stout than the old ones. So, and then the reproduction. So, I like to stick with the original if I can. Always trying to find original parts if I can, if you're lucky enough. Makes it, like I said, it's something when you go to a show, you go to an event, you can go to the swap meet, kind of search around, and if you find one for the right price and you can buy it, or you can just tell the guy you're out of your mind, and you'll come back because you'll just put the other one you got on until you find somebody with a decent price on it. That kind of drives the price down. Keeps the parts from getting too out of control. These guys going crazy making stuff all original. It sucks it out. Makes it so that the guys that are hobbyists want to have fun. They just can't get the stuff because the price stays up too high. So anyway, that's a little bit of bumpers. I'll talk to you in the next video. Please like, share, and subscribe.